None of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know. Perfect timing, Keith.
Keith, what's up?
Your favorite movie of all time. Step 9.
Oh, good.
How is there any other choice than Remember the Titans being number one?
I'm curious.
I'm spoiling mine, but
Well, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good, good
I'm
question,
not even
Brian.
done talking.
you shouldn't be talking at this point.
Yeah, Jacob, you shouldn't be talking at this point. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Apocaflix Movies and Apocaflix Now. Hope everyone is doing great out there. Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday here, and we are very excited because we have a gigantic movie to discuss. And Gio did not ditch out on us this time. He's actually
put me
here.
on blast.
He is actually here.
I was here last week too.
Look at that. He ditches for a DC movie and shows up for a Marvel movie.
Whoa.
Hey,
So,
man, times are changing, buddy.
It's true.
Okay,
that
hierarchy
Phantom
of
United is
power.
about to be changed real quick. Just saying.
man,
just saying.
that whole
What's up,
background.
everybody? Hope everyone in the chat's doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. Mike, let's start Drew. John, thank you all. To everybody else who may be joining us and not commenting along or joins us here in just a little bit. Hope everyone's doing fantastic out there. Look, it's very obvious. Title, thumbnail, weekend after a big release. We are here to talk about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We have a little bit of a thing to get to beforehand, but we're leaving the entire show as much time as possible to discuss this latest entry in the MCU and the final one in Phase 4, actually. So we're going to get to that in just a little bit, but I'm going to go around the horn. I'm going to see how everybody's doing. Gio's face looks very confused, like he's doing something. Jacob's drinking a Sprite. So, Brian, how are you doing?
I'm good. I just set up my Christmas tree.
Ooh.
It's
Nice.
November 15th, for God's
Exactly.
sake.
It's more than halfway through November.
That is.
And the last time I talked to your wife, she was planning on setting up Christmas stuff the second week of November. So I don't want to hear it. So
Christmas stuff ain't up here, and it's not happening until after Thanksgiving. So.
because she's been busy.
She don't set shit up. That's all me. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Jake does it all. Hey, I actually agree with you, Jake. People do like November 1st. Like, no, that's way too early.
You cannot forget about Thanksgiving. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Like,
no,
I'm sorry.
it's got to be, the day after Thanksgiving is the earliest for me as well.
I usually do
facts.
November 1st.
So I guess
I'm not a
Black
huge
Friday is
Thanksgiving person.
But Brian,
the
you
day-
didn't do November 1st. It's November 15th.
Yeah. So it's even more of a reason to set it up because it's past my normal.
The most underrated holiday because of all you mother effers.
I don't
That's
like
why.
Thanksgiving. It's
Well, you suck. Anyway,
I love
Chico, how are
Thanksgiving.
you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. I actually want to take this opportunity because I don't think it was going to be in the notes, but as a resident DC enthusiast, I want to make a toast to Kevin Conroy. He was my introduction to Batman. Big time. You could have your preference on which live action Batman you prefer, but Kevin Conroy was the guy that really introduced a whole generation and carried over multi-generations. And very sad to hear of his passing, and just wanted to quickly get that out of the way before we talk about the big movie. So
No, thank you for bringing that up. It's obviously a big deal in this community. Brian and I got a chance to talk about it a little bit yesterday. So Thank you, Gio. Jacob, before you get to how your day's been, do you have any thoughts on Kevin Conroy?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think we all watched the Batman animated series growing up at some point or another, but it's crazy, Gio. I don't know if you remember, I've been telling you recently, I've been watching it.
Yes.
Before he passed away, I've been watching it because I just hadn't watched it in so long, and it's actually really good. Like, it holds up, and a lot of those old animated shows don't. And so that's very unfortunate to hear. And he did everything. Like, he did video games and all that stuff to this day.
Mhm.
He was in The Flash.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yep.
So no, he's a legend. He's an absolute legend, and we're gonna miss him.
Absolutely. Other than that,
Yeah.
Jacob, how was your weekend, man?
Pretty good, man. Not too bad. I worked a lot, watched some football, some decent football. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Had a had a situation at work today. I just like one of my nothing crazy, Brian. Nothing
Tell me you
crazy.
knocked out a kid. Tell me you knocked.
No, not yet, but it might happen. It might happen. No, one of my like just most sweetest kids was being picked on today, and I felt so bad. And I like these older girls made her cry, and then I was like, I just can't stop thinking about it. It's crazy. But Brian, maybe you can give me some tips on how to deal with bullying.
Punch him.
No, not
so write that in the notes. Don't ever ask Brian for advice ever again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. There we go.
Were they girls from my side?
No, it was like a 5th grader picking on a 3rd grader. Yeah.
God, kids are vicious, man.
But your side, Brian, your side, don't get me started on them.
Oh, I've already heard horror stories. They're not even allowed in my classroom because they've been that bad. So
yeah.
Oh, I'm pulling mom and dad aside and being like, "What the hell is going on? Why is the frustration coming out here? Come on, talk to me."
And Gio clearly has no experience in teaching.
Yeah,
Gio, the parents are going to are going to bully you.
I mean, that's fine. Go ahead. I want to see your GPA in high school.
Huh? Gio gets bullied every day. He's a DC fan.
Oh. Dude, it's
all right. I don't want to know what a can of
over the last 6.
Jake is just
bro. How are you gonna do that and then all of a sudden go no? Okay, we're not gonna get.
We gotta move the show along.
He's lighting the flame and running away.
Gotta move the show along. Before we get to the movie watching challenge, I want to bring up a comment here from the chat. This one's from Shane Rose. Thank you, Shane. I have a Thanksgiving related question, and only everybody loves Raymond fans might get this, but turkey or fish? I have no idea what that means. I've never seen the show.
See, fuck.
But I'll say turkey.
I've watched so much Everybody Loves Raymond. I'm sad to say I don't know that reference. Okay, but then again, it's been so long. I just
neither.
Turkey.
I mean definitely turkey, but ham over both.
Turkey.
Well, I'll say if it's an everyday option, fish over turkey every day. But for Thanksgiving, turkey over fish.
Yeah, of course.
Potato salad with no raisins.
Okay. What? Who puts raisins? But is that Everybody Loves Raymond reference?
No,
it's just
people put raisins in there.
That's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
What made me think. So
that's
real quick. Chadwick Boseman did a SNL skit, Jeopardy, SNL Jeopardy, and that was one of the things that he, poked fun at. And anyways,
got it.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. John, I'm going to save that question because that might be something that we do over the next few weeks. I'm not going to answer that just yet. That might be a topic on one of these shows upcoming here in the next 2 weeks or so. But before we get to Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which we're going to try to discuss as much as we possibly can, we always start the show off with one little thing, and that is the movie watching challenge.
Man, how the hell did you get into my home?
Sorry.
I'm trying not to be loud so my neighbor doesn't come out. Okay.
I have so many different things going on right now.
You have one job, Brian. One job. One.
No, hey, last week his was pretty good.
Tonight
it looks like Gio ordered a friend or something because he's talking to someone on the side over there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell is going on. But
yeah, somebody just busted into my house right now and didn't even say hi. Just went into my fridge, grabbed something, and hurry up. Come on.
We're waiting on you.
Who said that's who it is, Star Drew?
Anyways.
I'm surprised.
Oh, okay. So you have to use. Okay, so you come in fridge. Now you have to use the restroom. And
okay, all right. Real quick, we're moving on. Movie watching challenge. Brian, you were challenged to watch what?
Last Action Hero.
All right. Before you get to challenge someone else on the panel, give us your brief or heavy thoughts on everything The Last Action Hero.
It was interesting.
It's awesome.
Oh, okay. Not the
reaction. Were you entertained?
Kinda.
Oh, bummer.
Brian
doesn't get. I don't think Brian gets 80s movies. I don't think he gets.
Man.
Yeah.
I'll say this: the whole time I was watching it, I was thinking about how they could redo it now.
That's what, yeah.
That's what we talked about last week.
Everyone thinks about, yeah.
That might have been a thing we should have waited to discuss till after, because maybe that was the reason I was sitting there thinking about it the whole entire time. The kid is so annoying. So annoying. Oh my God. When he gets dropped off the side of the building the first time, I was like, oh, finally. Like,
oh my God.
But although there were some good, like, little, like, things I wasn't expecting. Charles Dance was great. He was the best part of the whole movie, though.
He is the best part of the whole movie.
So better than Schwarzenegger. My favorite part, though, I think was hi, Keith.
There's something on my screen. What the fuck?
I think my favorite part, though, was when they walk into the movie store and Terminator is Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so good.
That was my favorite part of the whole entire movie. That made me laugh pretty hard because I was just like, because when they walked in, I was like, who's going to be the person that like replaces him? Because clearly it's not going to be him. And then it was like Sylvester Stallone. I was like, of course it was Sylvester Stallone.
Keith, can you hear us?
Yes.
We're talking. Well, I want to check in on you in here in just a second, but we're talking about The Last Action Hero. Brian watched The Last Action Hero.
Oh, did he? It's one of my favorite movies ever. Okay.
Clearly, all four of us
didn't like it, and he didn't like it.
That's okay, Brian. I want to know why. Why didn't it work for you?
It was okay. First off, it was way longer than it needed to be. It was a long.
Really?
Oh yes.
You're wrong.
There were a couple times.
Okay, Brian. Without googling it, I'm gonna Google it. What do you think the runtime of this movie is?
It was like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Sounds.
10 minutes.
Okay. See?
Wow.
All right.
I mean, I didn't feel that. Honestly,
I never even noticed that. I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because there were a couple times I was like,
perfect.
I had to like go to the bathroom, so I went to pause it, and I'm like, this movie must be almost over, and I was like, there's still another 45 minutes. Like I was just like, a couple times I was like, holy moly. I liked the Italian mob boss guy.
Yes.
This movie is definitely dated. There are some things that I'm like,
of course.
But I mean, that's fair with like how things were.
Again, I don't think Brian gets 80s movies.
Probably not.
Well, they're making fun of action movies.
Or 90s, or even like 90s.
Ian McKellen's in there as the Grim Reaper.
Yes. That was cool.
Yeah.
I did like him. No, it's funny.
Murray Abraham.
For as much as I didn't like care for it, the whole time I was like, I really want to see this redone nowadays.
Yeah,
So,
concept is great.
The concept I think would kill right now. Like
Something
I think
with streaming, maybe, or I don't know.
anything.
Well, what
No,
genre?
it's in a
What
movie.
genre?
It would have to
Put
be
it in a movie theater.
comic book movie. It would have to be comic book movie
Yeah.
because the 80s was.
It wouldn't
all
have to be.
Well, I mean,
Well, that's the dominant. No,
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. If you get like drawn into a fictional, well, they're all fictional, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
Just kind of Space
style
Jam, man.
character.
yeah. Like he jumps into like a New York battle and whatnot. And they're
Yeah,
heroes,
alien
and you're just
invasion
like,
or whatever. Yeah.
What the hell is this? You know.
So yeah. Sorry.
Then again,
That's
you know,
fair. I mean, it's a bummer, but it's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
at this point, if we challenge Brian to a movie that is earlier than, I'll say like 1995, more than
That's
likely,
not true.
He's just going to be okay on it.
That's not true. I loved Major League. Not Major League.
A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own.
That's a
I've never
very different movie.
I've never seen it.
I'm talking about like a full blown action movie, like the Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff. You probably will hate 90% of the stuff.
That might be true because I've been Predator was okay. This one was okay.
God, you just
Predator was.
we need to move on. I'm getting frustrated.
Wait, Brian. Didn't we challenge you to Lethal Weapon as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
He
Big
doesn't
point.
get it. He doesn't get it.
Oh,
That's okay,
man.
Brian. I thought you would enjoy it, like because
Yeah, right.
it's a fun movie. It's like an action comedy, but I appreciate your opinion.
The real test would to give Brian both either a Terminator and a Rambo movie and see what his thoughts are.
I've seen Terminator. I like Terminator. Rambo.
Have you seen Rambo? Okay.
No.
That's the real test. If he doesn't
Rambo,
like
he won't-
Rambo,
no,
then we're
he
just
won't
done.
like
He doesn't
We're
like
just
gore.
done
He won't like
challenging him in
Rambo.
these movies.
He won't like Rambo.
I don't. I think I would probably not like Rambo if I'm guessing.
We got to find like those white chick type movies that he hasn't seen, or what was the other one? The hot chick. Those type of movies.
They didn't make those bad movies back then.
Yes, they definitely did. But the Revenge of the Nerds, he might like Revenge of the Nerds. He might like those, or Police Academy, some of those movies.
He might like actually Revenge of the Nerds. He might really like.
I
That's
think he would like it. I think
that
he
is
would.
true.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, we're gonna add those. And there's like 8 of those. So
Right, right.
yeah. All right. Well, let's get off this bag on Last Action Hero train. Brian, who are you challenging next, and which 4 movies are you challenging them to?
Well, let me get my share screen. Okay. I, in this case, am going to throw it at Mr. Insider Geo.
What?
I was so pleasantly pleased when you guys updated your list because I was like, I know that movie. I know that movie now. And so
I'm not done yet. I just added a couple, but I'm gonna add some more.
that's fine. You have time because I threw it at Geo. And in this case, I am throwing these 4 movies. I'm giving Lady Bird another spin.
Okay.
Parasite, Cowboys versus Aliens, and Dunkirk.
Wait, Gio, you've never seen Dunkirk?
You ever seen Dunkirk?
I haven't seen Dunkirk. No.
What?
Okay.
And you've
No.
never seen Cowboy versus Aliens?
Dunkirk came out the same year as Justice League, and that year was just bad. And Cowboys versus Aliens. No, I haven't seen that one. So.
That movie is awesome. Awesome.
Is it
Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone dislikes it because it was so like anticipated. Like the trailers came out and people are like, "Oh my god, this is going to be the movie of the year," and then it didn't live up to that hype. But the movie is so much fun. It is so much fun.
I'm very
John
pleased
Favreau
with
directed
my
that,
board.
right?
Cool concept.
Favreau directed, yeah. Harrison Ford, Daniel Craig,
Mhm.
Olivia Wilde, like Paul Dano. Come on.
Oh, Dano.
Yeah.
What?
I'm very pleased with my 4 choices. I would be happy with any of these 4 personally.
All
But,
right.
I'm curious. I want a wild card because I want to see what he picks.
That would be interesting. We've
I
never
wanna
had a
see what
wild
he
card.
picks.
I don't think.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well,
Shall we?
let's do it.
Michael Wildcard.
Keep going. Keep going.
Oh my goodness!
Oh.
That was so close.
Oh.
All right, Mr.
Man.
Gio. Dunkirk.
Is this
I mean,
with
I
the guy
like the
who?
choice.
This is the guy who stole the Oscar from Stallone, right? He's in this
Mark
movie.
Rylance.
No.
But it wasn't in this
Yeah.
movie. It wasn't in this movie. He
Oh,
won
right.
it. For,
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
sorry.
in Dunkirk,
Yes, he is in
yeah.
Dunkirk. Yes. I'm sorry.
yeah, but he won the
was
Oscar
the
for that
Bridge-
movie
what is
with
that
Tom
movie?
Hanks.
Yeah.
The Bridge.
Spies, which is
The Bridge
oh,
is
Bridge of
Spies.
Spies.
Bridge of Spies. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Bridge of
what it
Spies.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good.
Is better
He
than
won it
Creed.
for that movie. Gio, this has
No,
this
no.
is Gio,
Okay.
this is Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Mark Rylance, Harry Styles, and I forget the main actor's name, the kid, the one that's on the poster. And then you also have Kenneth Branagh is in there as well.
Briefly. Yeah.
And this is where
Spoiler, he dies.
No.
Okay, spoiler.
Gio, this is the first time that we met the kid who's now Barry Koenig, who's now playing Joker.
Oh, for real?
He is in it.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I know.
This
I
was
know.
the first
Oh.
time we ever saw him in like a big budget film. He's in this movie with Mark Rylance. He's like partnered with him essentially the whole movie.
Okay, Dunkirk.
Yeah.
It's the structure is weird.
Wild. Wild.
It's, yeah.
Wild.
I love this movie. A lot of people didn't. I love it.
I've only ever
How's-
seen it once. I need to revisit it. I definitely need to revisit it.
How's the audio quality of this Christopher Nolan movie? Can you hear the dialogue?
Better than
You
Tenet.
can.
I thought you were
There
going to say
is
better
no-
than
Keith, maybe you can agree, but this was like the turn of like starting to struggle with Nolan's volume levels.
I was just gonna say. Well, the volume's okay, but it's one of those things. I think there's Is this the one that has like the ticking in the background for the whole
Yes.
movie? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
because- yeah.
Yes. It's when he started to really kind of play with the audio that he's been doing lately. This was the first time we saw it, and you can kind of now see the trajectory from this to Tenet to like these movies he's done recently where
Lord knows how Oppenheimer is going to turn.
What
He'll be like,
what do you
say? Yeah.
Time thing he's gonna do?
so should I watch it with subtitles?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of accents. So,
Okay.
Yeah, and Keith's right. There's a lot of accents in the movie, that's for sure. So
yeah.
I'm excited to hear what he thinks. It's a Nolan movie, so I mean,
When was
Is this the only Nolan movie you haven't seen?
This and Tenet, I have not. I still haven't seen.
you don't need to watch Tenet. You're fine.
When was the last time we challenged someone to a movie that was under the last 5 years?
Me?
Any of us?
I don't.
To a Nolan movie?
Well, I got challenged to watch Parasite.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know what the one before that was, but yeah. So yeah, no, I'm excited. That's a big movie to talk about. So we'll get to hear Gio's thoughts on Dunkirk next week. Please watch it with subtitles. That way we can get a good review in. With that said, let's go ahead and move along and get to the big part of the show. Let's start talking about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the long-awaited sequel to the original film, but also a film that obviously needed to take its time because of the tragic passing of one Chadwick Boseman. We get to pick back up with these incredible characters inside Wakanda, Shuri Okoye, Queen Ramonda, M'Baku, and we finally get to meet one Namor who, made his presence known in this movie. Before we get into specifics, because we're obviously going to break it down as much as we can, maybe go through the characters and the story and everything. I just want 1-2 sentences of your kind of thoughts, brief reaction to the movie now that we've had a couple days to sit on it. I'll just quickly go around the horn as I see it. Keith, start us off, man. What is your just quick reaction to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever?
That was very good. Very good. It's a different movie. It's trying to avoid comparing to the first one. But yeah, I mean, it's a sequel, so I think it's different from the first one. But I thought it was very good, very somber, of course. But overall, I thought it was very, very good, with some very strong. We'll get into it, but strong performances.
Yeah, Gio?
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever joins a limited list of movies with a very tragic, troubled production that managed to pull it off. Great outcome, albeit imperfect.
Yeah.
Brian?
Namor steals this movie.
Damn.
Oh,
Jacob?
We're gonna slightly disagree on that.
Yeah, I really liked it, honestly. Like, it's not I don't think it's like top 5 MCU level, but I really, really enjoyed it. And for multiple reasons, it's like hit me on a few personal levels for multiple reasons. And I really appreciated it for that reason. But I think it's a solid MCU movie, and don't want to spoil.
Take that damn phone off the desk.
My phone has the strongest vibrate of all time. I don't know why. But yes, very good. We'll talk more about it soon.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. It is a powerful, personal film that's filled with an incredible emotion, but also a slight messiness to it. That's all I'll say. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
I kind of agree with that. It's a good way of putting it.
Jake, do you have a golf cart on your hat?
I do. It's a golf cart. It's a golf cart with a guy holding a beer.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to decide if it was a golf cart.
I never realized what that was.
Yeah, he's holding a beer.
Do you want a beer? You good?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. To everyone in the chat who maybe hasn't seen the movie and is heading out, thank you guys for joining us for just the part of the show. We appreciate it. Where should we start? I think, actually, you know what? I'm taking that back. Let's go ahead and start with the obvious kind of elephant is how they are handling the passing of Chadwick, how they honored him. Because that is, if that doesn't work, this movie doesn't work clearly. Like, that is the biggest part that this film has to do, is it has to not just honor and respect and make sure we know what's going on, but also kind of move along and push the story forward. So I do want to start with that portion of it all, because it's you feel it. You feel it the first 10-15 minutes of the movie. It is hammered home immediately.
Right to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hammered home immediately. And I think this is one of, if not the only times that we've ever gotten a cold open in an MCU film. I obviously can't think of every single property ever, but this might be the first time we saw a scene before the Marvel logo.
I think so. And
maybe I'm not sure, but it's one of very, very few moments where we saw a scene before the Marvel logo. So let's talk about it. The honoring of Chadwick, how they handled his death, inside the story. What do we think on this one, guys? Who wants to start?
Well, just because I was one of the strongest. I actually went back and watched our, which was tough to watch, but our video we did right after Chadwick passed. I watched that show, and it just really went just right back to that whole. It still feels like, but and obviously we were hesitant to get into it then, because who cares at that time, Still, all that aside, obviously the fact that we, he was a son and a husband and a dear friend to so many people, all that obviously aside, referring to the movie, I've always been on the side of recasting. I understand why they didn't, and it was them coming out and explaining. Feige recently coming out, I think, talking about why they chose not to, which I definitely understand. But I always felt like they should recast. It seems like they're obviously, we'll get to the ending, but they're going to obviously now. But
there's a reason why they didn't recast.
They did an end around, but they
did it in a clever way.
They didn't recast. They recharactered. If that's a word.
But they essentially, you're right, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But boy, first of all, just the fact that they just went right, boom, immediately and right into it, which I think was the right thing to do. I think obviously back to Carrie Fisher and what happened with her, and I feel like, maybe just addressing it immediately at the start of the next movie was probably the way to go. Because I think they handled it the best way they could. Carrie Fisher also, I was thinking also too of Paul Walker as well.
Yeah,
and maybe if the situation happens, like once you get past obviously of the sorrow in the morning, when you get back into production, like maybe the best way to handle these things is, the character's gone. Because that's the person's gone. There's nothing you could do. But that, there's no right or wrong answer. But I really, for me, he was really missed in this movie, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they did, everyone in front of and behind the camera did their damn best, but you just couldn't.
There was no definitive lead to the movie because he wasn't there.
Yeah. And, and apparently, just from what I've read and heard, some checking out interviews with Ryan Coogler, this was still going to be the story. The whole thing with Namor and all that was still the story. But I just couldn't help just watching these scenes, as good as they were. But just imagine the conversations between T'Challa and Namor, and just I couldn't. I was in the movie. I was enjoying it. I like what Letitia Wright did in those scenes, but I just couldn't help. But man, it just.
Well, to piggyback off of what you said, I think Letitia Wright did her damn best.
She really did.
But it would have been a lot better with Chadwick there, and it's not to, downplay the type of effort and commitment that Letitia put into this movie. I mean, I think the first 5 minutes of this movie is Letitia at her best.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because what she has to do as the AI is talking about, his heart rate is now at 30, and it's just you can, you can sense in her, emotions that, she's clearly pulling from her grief of real life.
Yeah.
and whatnot. And for me, that's where she is at her best in this movie. And that opening works because of her for the most part.
Once we got through the opening, I don't know about you guys. I wish I could have saw it with you guys, but they did the opening, and when they get to the Marvel logos with all the images of him, which was
silence.
the
silence, the silence.
Theater, exactly. The theater was.
I think Brian might have said it, or someone outside of the theater, but how much respect the audience basically just staying quiet. Like everyone knew in that moment, you shut your mouth. You don't say anything.
Yeah.
You don't clap. You don't cheer. You don't do anything. You're just sitting there, kind of respecting what is happening. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the whole Chadwick situation, I thought, I agree with Keith. I think his presence was definitely felt, and it's hard, man. Like, the movie, it had, quite honestly, this movie has no right being as good as it is because of the whole situation that it went through. Like, you lose your lead, the person that the movie is named after, and you're going to make a movie that's still this good. Like, there's not very many cases where this would happen, if like one or two. And so his presence was definitely missed. But I think as far as, how they handled his absence, first of all, I thought they did the best case scenario with how he died inside the actual universe.
Right.
Sticking with the illness aspect of it all. It makes the most sense.
Too.
It just makes the most sense. It ties back to, and they're connecting and honoring him in that way as well. And not like, because we talked about it on this show, but you can't like say that he died in some epic battle with a character, because then you're giving credit to that other character. You can't do that. Like, it's the only actual way that would have made the best sense. But I also think that past the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, it did a really good job of honoring him through the entire thing. It's not like he was part of it in the first 20, 30 minutes. He was in it the entire runtime. From start to finish, he was mentioned. He was never forgotten. And to me, that's them saying, like, look, we understand where we have to go, but we're only here because of him. We are only here because of what he has done, from Civil War all the way to Endgame. So we can't just gloss over and give him 30, 40 minutes of, us trying to grieve. And I'm not taking credit for this, but someone said this online of the movie feels like the 5 stages of grief. And it's incredible when you think of it, like how emotionally invested, not just we are, but everyone else is. Like, it's very clear. It's like completely palpable. You can feel it coming off the screen of how important this was all to them, and how big it was to not just tell the story, but be a part of it. And yeah, I thought everything with, T'Challa and specifically Chadwick. And I love the fact that towards the end, I think it's the beach scene with Shuri before she met his son. We get all of those scenes of him in the MCU. We get all of those flashbacks
where she's reflecting and she kind of.
Yeah, we finally get to see all the flashback scenes from Civil War to Black Panther to Infinity War to Endgame. And it's just like that final, of course he's going to be mentioned and stuff, but it's that final closing chapter for us to be like, okay, we got this. It's a little bit of closure for us to be able to push forward a little bit, because we kind of have to. Like, if we're going to continue this universe, like, we kind of have to. So I thought they respected the hell out of him and did an incredible job honoring him throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they did the best possible job they could have done as far as explaining why the character's not there. They did the best thing possible, like address it right away so there's no questions. They can't show him on screen other than like the opening logo and then the montage at the end. Like, they can't even shoot a scene or do anything like that. They don't have unused footage. It's not like the Carrie Fisher situation.
Or like,
and honestly, even if they did, I wouldn't want them to use unused footage. It would. I don't know why. It just would feel wrong in this situation. But you're right, Jake. His presence was felt throughout the whole entire movie, even though he literally wasn't there. And I think, it's unfortunate that they had to make this movie without him, and his absence is very much felt. But like all of us have said, they they did a great job of. I mean, I would say Shuri is the lead of this movie. I don't think there's any like she is, but she's not like a pure like 100%. This is the lead, but like it's literally following her the whole entire movie, and it's about her journey overcoming the loss of her brother, and we see it from beginning to end. She finally, burns his robes at the end. But it was definitely more of an ensemble than the first Black Panther was, I would say. So yeah, I think they handled that beautifully. Honestly,
I have a question for the panel. Because I thought if there was an opportunity to use Chadwick in this movie, it would have been during her going through the process of becoming the Black Panther,
the ancestral plane.
The ancestral plane. Thank you. But they didn't go that route. They went with another character. I mean, it's spoiler talk. So Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger made a surprising appearance, although it made sense in the context.
Epic appearance.
But how'd you guys? Yeah, epic. Absolutely. But how'd you guys feel about that? Like, were you okay with that? Would you have liked to see maybe her talk to Chadwick and just have that last moment?
I think it was genius.
I thought it was smart because it fit with the story, with what they were telling. They were dealing with, and they made sure to make sure we knew that Shuri is a far different character from T'Challa in the way that she handles things.
Yeah.
No matter how much she was like her brother, raised by the same people, invested in everything that they stand for, she is still such a vastly different character. And T'Challa would have handled, like, say that the roles were flipped and T'Challa was grieving the death of Shuri, for example. He probably would have had some anger, but he would have handled it very differently. Because we already saw him kind of handle it like Shuri did in Civil War when his father died.
Yeah,
He already went through that, right? Shuri hasn't gone through that yet. And for her being so young still, and also just losing her mother on top of that, like this young girl who is 18 years old, 19, whatever, is going to try her damnness to handle it how she can, but the anger and frustration is going to take over. It is like, we've all been through it in certain situations. Like, it just happens sometimes. And especially if you're going through it on the first time. So I thought it was incredibly smart. I thought using him in that situation was, I mean, I would have loved to have seen him in the movie and brought him back somehow, but I thought it was chef's kiss. I thought it was absolutely chef's kiss to use him that way.
Yeah, it was perfect because there's no other way to bring Killmonger back unless it's like a multiverse version, which would have been stupid in this movie. But I don't like we said, I didn't want to see a deep fake or anything like that with Chadwick. So there's no way she could have seen him unless like they don't have footage that would have fit with the scene. Like that whoever she saw in the ancestral plane had to like talk to her a lot. There's no way you could have done something like that. So it had to either be Killmonger, which it makes sense. He's her cousin. So like it made sense logically within the world. And it could have been her. Did the actor who played their dad in Civil War, is he still around?
Yeah.
Okay, so it could have been her dad.
They don't die.
That's what I was thinking.
They don't die in real life when they die in the movies, Jake.
No, I just didn't know if the actor was still around. That's all I was asking. Or it could have been Angela Bassett, but we saw her with her a lot of this movie. So
yeah,
I really like that they went with it's Eric, right? Eric Killmonger.
Yeah.
Like you said, she was focused on revenge. She wanted to kill Namor. Like she was ready to go, and
very much Killmonger.
Exactly. So it was the right person for her to see.
Well, she was on a path of vengeance,
to show her that it's not the right thing to do. But Jake, you kind of brought something to my attention. She kind of went through the same exact thing that Black Panther went through in Civil War. Lost his father, was trying to kill the person responsible. Ultimately, decided not to, which is crazy. And she even says the same line. She says the same line that he says at the end of Civil War when he's about to kill Zemo.
Yeah.
So
there's a couple of
weird. How did she know that I guess she could see everything that happens with him in his suit, huh?
Well, no, I mean, she probably just said that, not thinking like, "Oh, my brother said this, I'm going to say this."
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
She
That's
probably
true.
didn't think that.
No, that's
true.
clearly
Yeah.
the writers winking at the audience.
That was
Of course, yeah.
Well, they also did it, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but when Riri Williams said Chadwick's line from his speech, did you guys see this?
Oh, what'd she say? Oh,
So she said the line to be young and black, and Chadwick
did she say that?
Yeah, Chadwick said this in real life in a speech, and she said it as piece of the dialogue in the film.
That's
awesome.
Cool,
dude.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting the exact dialogue correct. But,
I do remember her saying that, but I didn't know that was Chadwick.
Yeah, Chadwick said it in a speech, and they injected it, and Riri said it in her apartment room with Shuri and Okoye.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
cool.
it's the way that, and I know I've seen a lot of people online kind of complaining about some of the dialogue sequences, which there were moments, but they also did a really good job of using lines like that and the Shuri line at the end at the right times to really make sure that it was felt. Brian, you haven't said much on Chadwick. I want to make sure we get your thoughts before we move on, man. What did you think of everything that they honored with him?
I mean, they handled it the best way they possibly could. I mean, I've been the one that has been saying for a while now that there's no way that they're going to let someone kill him, that he would have to die on his own merit. I think the irony is not lost, that we've been wondering, like, how are they going to kill him? And they just literally did exactly what he did in real life. It's literally exactly how he died in real life. They literally said he held out as long as he possibly could and didn't tell anyone until it was too late.
Yeah.
That's literally exactly what, in a way, he did. And it makes sense because we've been wondering, is it going to be a brain aneurysm? Is it going to be this? They just said, no, he just died.
This unknown illness.
Like, they just left it as it is. And, like, you would think, like, well, we need to know, but the way that it was done, it was just like, okay. Like,
I agree, Brian. I don't think anybody, regardless of how you feel about the movie, or it is gonna like pry at, okay, what kind of illness was it? Was this established in the MCU already? No, I think everyone just they found themselves comfortable, dare I say comfortable, with how the writers and filmmakers decided to handle this situation. I don't like the word comfortable, okay, because I think it was still accepting. Thank you. Yeah. So I agree with you 100%.
It sounds like, from what it sounds like Chadwick himself, and not to bring it back to that, but Brian, you just hit it right on the head. They did it exactly the way it happened in real life, pretty much. It sounded like he thought he was going to beat it.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
That's what they
that's why
mentioned. I think I forget who, maybe one of his family members or something, but like he thought leading up to the week of his passing that he was going to
be all right.
beat this. Ryan Coogler even talked about,
that's what I read.
He completed the script, weeks before, and then that week he realized, no, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Like, you have to send this email to Kevin Feige, to everybody, Ryan Coogler, and let them know what's going to happen, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's no easy way to move on from the whole Chadwick situation, but we do have a whole movie to talk about. So
really quick, I want to say, just to as far as that, the scene actual, because I want to talk about the funeral really quick, which is really good.
Yeah.
Number one, were they, first of all, I love the scene. It was just just everybody there. I kind of wish because like everybody was at Tony Stark's funeral.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like maybe some of the Avengers.
Who's to say they weren't there?
Well, I will push back on that, because while T'Challa himself was open to, opening Wakanda to the whole world,
right?
Maybe not everyone felt that same way, and they felt, no, this is our king right here.
Okay,
we have to honor him in the way that only we know how to honor him.
Sure.
And our whole ceremony and whatnot. And Yeah, I mean,
That's a good point.
I don't know. I mean, if so
it was a Wakanda funeral. Like I don't think they'd be like, hey, like Hawkeye, come on over. Like they don't know them like that, you know. Maybe Chadwick knew some of them, or
Not
maybe
him. But
T'Challa.
you said okay, but
you're talking about the Avengers that he worked with, like maybe
I was going to say they let Avengers in Infinity War. They were there in Wakanda.
Yeah,
no,
so
true,
what,
but like
Bucky,
not
War
even the battle. I'm
Machine.
talking about they were staying there. Steve Rogers was staying there.
Jake Bryan, like when does Wakanda Forever? Did they confirm when it takes place on the MCU timeline? Like, do we know where Thor is at this time, or where
Thor's in the universe?
Yeah,
Thor is?
Cap is an extremely old man.
Yeah,
Tony's dead.
John Booth,
Hawkeye.
Bucky was living in Wakanda for years.
Hawkeye is, off with his family. Bucky, could have been there. Sam could have been there. I mean, I just always think to myself,
not a big deal.
I walked out of the theater thinking, who's to say they weren't there, just not shown? Like, they don't have to be shown. I don't think they needed to be shown.
Invite outsiders to Wakandan funerals.
Or
like
I'm one that believes that they were there. Or maybe they were there earlier before the actual Wakandan part of it took place, and they just weren't shown. I like that nobody was shown. It would have taken away from everything that was going on in those first 20 minutes if we saw Bucky or Hawkeye or Thor.
It would have felt like a cameo.
It just, I don't need that. I don't need that. And I get it. People are like, oh, well, he's an Avenger. Like, he fought with all these people. But at the same time, there isn't any culture like Wakanda on Earth in the MCU. And so if they don't want them there, they're not going to be there. But I just think that they were there and not shown. And I like the fact that they didn't show them. I like
not to say that it was necessary. I don't think it was necessary. But for me personally, I don't think it would have taken away. But the reason I say it is just because he's a very important person in this universe.
Oh yeah,
and an important person to them. So I do hope that there is some acknowledgement that this character that has meant so much and has done so much. I'm talking about within universe has done so much. There will be some acknowledgement from the other heroes.
I could definitely see an opportunity, like within the next, I don't know, whenever the next MCU movie is, where like they find out that T'Challa,
because it's a big deal
in
universe. It's
because they're going to be like, where's T'Challa? I hope I agree. I think there's going to be some acknowledgement.
No, they'll address it.
The only two that would really address it would be Bucky or Sam.
Bucky or Sam.
It's not going to be mentioned for a while, guys.
You're probably not going to even see Hawkeye damn near ever again.
Thor, and
Thor will probably get addressed. When does Captain America 4 come out?
2024.
They'll definitely talk about it in that movie.
It's not going to be mentioned for a while because Avengers movies are over 2 years away. Captain America 4 is over a year away. The next two movies slated are Ant-Man 3, which takes place in the quantum realm, and The Marvels, which takes place in deep space. Like, it's not going to be mentioned for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
possibly.
Maybe.
And Mike, they could have had two funerals: a traditional Wakanda funeral and an Avengers funeral off screen. Sure. Yeah, I mean, maybe they could. Yeah, reminds me of BVS. With how he got. One Clark Kent got one in Smallville,
a private one.
Could happen that way. But
we
did see some people, kind of react to it, like Martin Freeman, what's his name?
Yeah.
Everett Ross.
Yeah, so some of the outside world found out,
right.
So. Yeah,
that's what I mean. It was on the news, so I just figured, it's not a big deal. I didn't mean to throw us off.
No, that's a good point, actually. Yeah. That's something we don't think about. Yeah.
All right. I'm sure that'll come back up at some point whenever we get into all of the hardcore MCU canon stuff. But let's go ahead and push forward and talk about this movie in specifics. I want to start with Shuri because she is, Jacob mentioned it, she can be considered the lead in this movie. The story focuses on her, and obviously she becomes the next Black Panther. Spoiler alert, she is the next Black Panther. It takes a little while for her to do so, which I think was fair. But she is now the Black Panther going forward for the time being. And the story focuses on her as she deals with the grief of not just her brother, but eventually her mother. And even though they didn't say it at the moment, logistically, she is the queen of Wakanda. So let's talk about Shuri.
She's not.
Like I said, they never actually said it. but she is actually the queen of Wakanda based on how the line goes.
I don't think she is because they set up Wakanda in the Jabari tribe area now.
No, they're all back in Wakanda. The end of the movie, they were back in Wakanda.
Yeah, they did go back.
I don't think. I think he's the leader now.
And Baku is. I think.
Well, no,
first
I
of
know
all,
that.
They didn't even show us the fight. Technically, someone could have challenged him and won, so we don't know.
Daniel Kaluuya showed up and tried.
Yes.
But
like I said originally when I was talking, she is not the queen, but technically she is when it comes to the line. That is all.
Line, yeah.
I'm not getting into the conversation of whether or not she is. Technically, she's the queen of Wakanda right now. That's all I was saying. I would like to talk about the story and the character and what she went through in the movie. Would anybody like to start?
They definitely purposely made that ambiguous, so you're right.
Yeah, but what a transformation for her character. I mean, to be put into, circumstances aside, to be put into the lead role, I kind of look at it the same way I look at, Linda Hamilton and how she transformed from T1 to T2, like, I mean, just a lot of the movie is really her, like, trying and struggling to come to terms or how to handle taking on this huge burden and realizing in more ways than one that she is not her brother, that Wakanda is in peril, and she really has no idea up until like the third act of like if what she's doing is the right thing or not. She agrees to go and explore Talocan, to have a talk with Namor. I love the way they pronounce the name Namor. Yeah. And I thought, she stepped up to the plate. It wasn't a home run, but I would give it a triple. To use a baseball term, I'm sorry, but like,
I was going to say a triple in basketball is pretty much the highest point scored. So
not basketball, but baseball for you, Jake.
So you're
he's a baseball guy, Jake. He let him make his baseball stuff.
You're giving him a 70% out of 100. Is that what you're doing, Gio? Because if you base
75,
it off of
right?
75, sorry. Yeah, 75.
That 5% matters, man. So.
Oh, I know.
Stand up triple.
Go ahead.
No. I just because Chadwick was so impactful and incredible in his role. It's almost not fair that I can't help but look at her performance and how she was, and just her being in a leading role, and was like, it left more to be desired. Like, there was, it didn't give it all the way, if that makes sense.
I don't know if you agree with me or not, Gio, but I'm not afraid to say this, but I like her in her role that she was in rather than the role that she's in now, personally. And a high supporting character, the way that she was in the first Black Panther, in moments in Infinity War and Endgame, I very much, and maybe it's just me needing to take time to.
Hang on.
Go ahead, Keith.
No, I was going to say, I think she would feel that same way in real life and the character.
No, and again, they're thrown into a position, right? Like they are thrown into a position of what they have to do. And it's nothing, like I thought that she did a great job in the role that she was given, because her character was tested like no other. Like she was completely tested every time she was on screen. She was completely beaten down. There were bullet holes one after another the entire film. First she's dealing with the grief of her brother, then she goes through the death of her mother, and then she has to deal with Killmonger and the test of vengeance, and like all of these things that she's doing with. Like, yeah, she's doing all of these different things. And so I give major kudos for the story that they gave Shuri, how Letitia Wright played the character, and how great she did come off on screen. I do, though, there's a good sized part of me that is going to miss her in the role that she was in. because I thought she was extremely valuable in that role. And I'm not saying she can't be as valuable and still that character in this role, but with her mother and brother gone now, a lot of that's going to go out the window because she has so much more to do. Not just to be the Black Panther, but in whether or not it's M'Baku or someone else ruling Wakanda, she's going to have a large part in it.
Right.
And that role of her being like the super intelligent baby sister scientist who is so incredibly talented at basically, putting Wakanda with all of these incredible weapons is kind of going to be out the window now. She has so many more duties and such a larger role outside of that. It's unfortunate that we'll never get to see what she could have been, right? Just because of the circumstances that were here.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss it, but I thought with the story that they were telling, what they were up against, I thought they did a really good job of doing it. I thought she had some very powerful scenes as an actress. I think it's probably her best movie as an actress, in my opinion. And there wasn't a moment where I was like, ooh, I don't believe in this girl being a lead actress. It's just I want her in the role that she was in. That's all.
No,
Jake,
I agree with you, Jake. Yeah. But, well, I was going to say more on that. Like, I think this is the only movie that we're going to see her be in this lead role like that. I think she is going to go back to being that very high level secondary, maybe, second or third lead in a movie. Yeah. The way they set it up,
I agree.
I don't think we're getting a Black Panther 3 for a while.
Well, they're doing are they doing that series? They're doing a TV series.
I think they're
Wakanda. Well, it was an Okoye Wakanda series, but it's not like it hasn't been given a release date or a title or anything.
Well, Jacob, I think you're on point. If I may, just because they threw the M'Baku thing at the end,
right?
With I think,
yeah. No. Well, I was going to make a comparison, not to Jacob, not to cut you off, but Jake, you'll appreciate this. I mean, she was Q, and now she's got to be.
Now she's Q Bond
and James Bond,
and I think she's only James Bond for one movie because I think Jake's right that like as at the time that the movie ended, she's technically supposed to be Queen of Wakanda.
Andy said it in the chat. She's the apparent to the throne. That's what she's
But I'm assuming she told M'Baku, hey, I don't want to rule. Like, I don't want to be queen. And she gave him permission to go
to step in.
Which I think is okay. Like, honestly, I agree. I would love a Black Panther movie with M'Baku in the lead. That dude is awesome.
Or at least,
I was hoping
at least M'Baku.
I wanted him to be Black Panther.
Me too.
M'Baku as king and Shuri as
an absolute.
Exactly. So I think that's where we're headed. I think whether it's M'Baku or somebody actually beats him, which I don't think it's the case. I think M'Baku will be.
I don't know if anybody challenges him.
Yeah, that's who's going to challenge him.
I don't think there's anybody that's going to challenge him.
His ass is in prison.
In prison anyway.
Nah, he gonna get free.
But so I think somebody else is gonna be king or queen of Wakanda. She'll be Black Panther for now.
Yeah.
Until maybe 15 years from now or so in the world.
In the future, she's not gonna be Black Panther anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And then once that happens, she's gonna go back to being her tech role, like the leader of tech in Wakanda. She's gonna be a very great auntie. That's what she's gonna be.
I think because the Black Panther character was, and we really can't think of anything MCU without thinking of this, but going forward, he was going to be like one of the next trios of the Avengers, right? Like he was going to step into that role of the Avengers or like the larger team, whatever.
He probably would have been the next Tony Stark.
Yeah, and now I don't know if you guys agree, but it almost feels like we've gone from that to her still being on the team, but not a leader. She's kind of going to be in the background a little bit of one of the, like she'll be a part of it. She'll be kicking ass, all that stuff. But she goes from being like top 2-3 draft picks to like a 5 or 6 rounder.
Oh, I agree. And again, that's nothing against Letitia Wright, but it's
not at all. It's just the role.
It's the role and the fact that Chadwick as T'Challa is Black Panther. Okay, so like they had to do something in this movie to like help fill the void, because I guess Marvel wasn't going to not do a Black Panther 2.
Right.
I mean, that was always in the books, and it forced Ryan Coogler, who did a hell of a job. I mean, like, this movie's not as good
I want to get to
if
that.
it were anybody else directing. Okay, Ryan Coogler, whatever you say about this movie,
He's a star.
he's a star. He delivered.
I want him to do Secret Wars right now.
It seems like that's rumors. Yeah.
He needs
Yeah.
to do Secret Wars.
Yeah,
But
I'd be down for that.
But Jake, I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, I think if Shuri remains the Black Panther, I think it's going to be definitely one of the more important characters within this new Avengers, whatever it looks like. But it will not be what it was originally intended to be. And again, that's not because Letitia Wright is limited as an actress. Okay, I think that's just they're doing the best with what they got. So
it seemed like it was going to be T'Challa and Doctor Strange and Carol Danvers were like going to be the three like leaders.
Carol Danvers
and
yeah,
you know, but I don't know if we want to go too far ahead. But Gordon, post that comment you have right there. Yes, maybe we'll get to that later. But
that
No.
I don't think
I've
so.
been waiting for this one. I've been
I
quiet.
don't think so.
Go ahead, Brian.
I don't think so.
Well,
Here's
it says, do they think they might do a time jump and have Toussaint be the new Black Panther? That's T'Challa's
No.
son, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just reading that for audio.
Here's what
oh,
you
it's
do.
done T'Challa.
Here's what you do. You keep them young,
Mm-hmm.
age it,
Mm-hmm.
have Storm be a young X-Men, young mutant. That way you can still do the Storm
Yep.
T'Challa story.
yeah.
Wow.
Because
I thought of
if you come in
Yeah.
with Storm being 30, you can't just jump 30 years like it's nothing in this timeline. So to me, you have the mutants be younger. You can then integrate with.
I mean, that's real young though. That's like
They
Yeah,
can.
that's like-
That's what
the
I'm saying.
way-
They can do that.
the way
but-
that
yeah.
they're
I
taking
like
your-
the idea. I like the idea. I'm just saying that's very young and
Just make
to
Storm
not have
young.
a storm.
You're
Just make Storm
probably
young. That's
you're
it.
not going to get anything mutants till probably after Secret Wars. I've already
I think we all agree on that.
So that's a long period of time as far as this, because we don't. Who knows how long they're gonna do this out? I mean,
He's what, 6 years old in this movie, right?
Yeah.
According
Yeah.
to like the MCU map, it's 5 years since the snap and then the year of his passing.
Yeah.
Which I completely
You
forgot
add-
about that he was snapped.
You
away.
had 2 years. You had 2 years till 2025, which is, or 2026. So 3 years till Secret Wars. So he becomes 9, and then you throw in like another 5. He can be 14.
So,
it is doable.
in the comics right now.
I don't want a
obviously-
time jump though. I don't want a time jump.
I
Well,
know.
okay, so it may not. It's not necessarily going to be a time jump, but it could be a thing that he goes through where Tony Stark, right? Like Tony Stark went evil and got killed or whatever, and then they went back in time and got kid Tony Stark and brought him to their time. and then I think this might be tied into the Secret Wars or I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I didn't read the new one, but and then there's something happened. He went through some sort of thing or whatever, and he came out and he's an adult living in. He was so it's Tony Stark from the past as a kid. Brought him to the.
You know what they're
present, and
doing? They're doing that to Wanda's kids right now. That's what they're going to be doing.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna do some weird thing. Where
Well,
he's
isn't
gonna-
like after
yeah.
Secret Wars, like there's a bunch of young versions of the characters and then older versions of the characters.
right.
like,
I mean, you
type
It's all
thing.
wild, dude.
I
It's
can
all
There's a bunch
wild.
of
easily
crazy
see-
stuff they can do in comics. They can do.
I
So-
could easily see him becoming a Black Panther by like 18 to 20.
Oh sure.
Yeah. But that's like 12 years from now.
If they want to do it in real time, that's why.
That's
I'm
a
saying they're gonna
long
have-
ass
Look,
time.
I think they put it on the
It's gonna
back
come out in
burner for
2021.
now. They let him grow up.
Yeah.
and
for sure.
Shuri's Black Panther through
sure.
at least Secret Wars,
Mhm.
and they deal with it after that. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
so. But I like your Storm idea. Maybe they don't. Maybe there's no Storm when they introduce the X-Men, and they bring her in a little bit later, and she's a younger character.
And also, we got to keep in mind that she can be like 5 years older and still hit on T'Challa. Like,
that's
who cares?
True. If she's 30,
hey, a 14-year-old can hang out with a 19-year-old. Come on.
We love a cougar, but not that bad.
Yeah, I mean,
25 and 30. How about that?
25 and 30, 20 and 25. Come on now.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Can we talk about Namor?
Is Michael Bay making
Hold on,
this
Brian. Hold on.
Michael Bay.
Namor is next. All right.
Definitely.
Any final thoughts on Shuri before we head on to the next topic, boys? We good on Shuri?
I will say one last thing. Everyone's bitching about how she beat him in the end. She didn't beat him physically. She outsmarted him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's what people aren't. They're looking at the fact that she beat him.
They didn't watch the movie.
Down.
If they're
No, they
They
didn't.
literally right. In fact, Brian, you're right because she literally they were talking about I can't beat him. They have to weaken him. So
Exactly.
They spell it out for you.
They
They
as an
literally
member.
like the amount of tweets I've seen of you're going to tell me in a month that
We've
she's
seen this
smart
so many
enough to
times
beat
with stuff.
a 500-year-old
I don't even
Namor.
look
I'm
at
like,
that.
she outsmarted him. You ding dongs. Like
Right.
it's.
People will never get it. People will never understand it. They're going to continue to complain and find something to complain about. So,
Although I need to know how she survived getting a spear through the gut for that long and ripping it out. Like
the suit heals her. What are you talking about?
Was the same thing. Thanos. Do you remember Thanos jammed the thing into Tony
Yeah, the
Stark?
suit heals you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Or the herb does, right? Both or both.
oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
that's true. The herb does kind of have like.
But
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick, Letitia Wright, her performance was incredible. Not in the same way that Chadwick's was in the first movie, in a different way. She was very vulnerable and she was going through a lot of pain as a character and probably in real life. And as far as that, playing somebody who's very mad and angry and sad at the same time,
she did great.
She did an amazing job at doing that, and I really appreciated that. So
It's like
great job.
When Queen Ramonda dies and she's like screaming and stuff, I was like, oh,
she did an amazing job. Yeah.
So
all right, let's go ahead and get to the other side of the coin in this movie, Mr. Namor. Everyone is, pretty up, and I've seen the internet up in arms about debating whether or not he's a villain, an anti-hero, whatever the case may be. Who cares? Character was done incredibly. Given some of the best backstory I think we'll ever see for a character who was introduced to the MCU. And we have one of the finest performances that we've seen in a very, very long time. The most unique character I think we've gotten in the MCU to date, or at least for the past couple of years. And what an introduction for not just him, but his entire world, which spans so many yards and feet across the ocean. I will let the Namor fanboy start us off here.
Nautical miles.
My nautical miles. There you go, Keith. Thank you. Brian, start us off. Don't take up all of the room, but what are your thoughts?
Excuse me, I've barely been
Namor?
talking, so I don't want to hear it. He was so good. I love a good history lesson in a movie that you just make it. Everything about it was just done to perfection. I loved every aspect of the culture bleeding into this character. If you didn't like it, you're an idiot because it was phenomenal. Like, I mean, I didn't really give, I'll be honest, like growing up, I was never a huge Namor fan. Like I didn't care about, like Namor was just the Marvel Aquaman. Like I didn't care. This made me like love him. He was amazing. And for them to just change everything and it worked so well. I love it.
It was so much for the better. It was so much for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Yeah. Everything. The fact that they didn't use like Atlantis and they made it actually more than just, oh, they're people that live under the sea. Like, no, they like gave you a story, a reason why they live in the sea while mixing it into real life, like history. Ryan Coogler just absolutely anything that is historical, like he just absolutely annihilates when he puts this stuff into these movies. I can only imagine being like someone of a Hispanic heritage and seeing all this and like just absolutely loving it, because I loved it and I have no connection to it in my culture or upbringing. And so I loved it. It was phenomenal. He was
just
great.
the idea of, because obviously the story is right. If you think of Atlantis, it was a once ancient city that sunk into the ocean and the people formed guilds, right? Like that's basically the story. This time it's, it's people who are of Aztec and Mayan descent.
Incan too. They took everything.
Who basically, are going through a situation and their tribe leader or leader decides, okay, I need to do something to fix this. And just like Wakanda, which we know that Wakanda and Atlantis / Talokan in the comics are pretty much like, they're like distant cousins. They have their version of a heart-shaped herb, a flower that gives them the gift to breathe underwater. Like, I don't know why none of us thought about this fact leading into this movie of, oh, you know what? They're going to have something similar to Wakanda. Like, it's just genius. It's smart to do.
Him and I thought of
that they'd have vibranium.
That they would have vibranium. We never thought
well that and that makes sense. Is and I love the idea that they put it at like the bottom of the ocean, and then we learn that basically their entire city is built from it and their armor and everything. And again, it just plays into the fact that Wakanda and Talokan are not just distant cousins, but legit first cousins. Like that's how they are. One is just people of the Panther, and the other one is they can breathe underwater and live deep in the sea. They're fishermen. Yeah, there you go. I love the detail they gave to him. I thought it was beautiful. We also saw, and this is just something that sticks out in my head, but we saw that very ancient Mayan ball game that was being played underwater, which I loved that detail. And just seeing everything that was focused on not just Namor and his how he kind of came to be, but that sequence of him taking Shuri down to Talokan was incredible. It's absolutely incredible the way that all took place. And being able to see that, and they took their time on telling this story and making sure that, like, not just giving a purpose of why this character is doing what he's doing and making us feel something for him, but also it's to those people who may not know him, this dude is here to stay for a long time. He is not going anywhere for a long time. He is going to be around for a very, very long time. He's going to be a very impactful character. I am right. He is 1000% getting his own movie. I can tell you that right now. It is probably already on the list, but just hasn't been announced yet. And yeah, I loved it. I loved everything. I thought his intentions were exactly where they should have been. He is incredibly powerful. And I thought the action with him and his wings and everything was superb. Superb.
I would say one other thing is I swear to God, they motherfucking cut off his wing ankles and that shit doesn't grow back. I'm gonna throw a fit because
I loved that though. That she did
cut off
that.
a bird's wing, it grows back.
Yeah, I think it'll grow back.
I mean, it was a genius.
Sure, he's gonna make him a synthetic one eventually.
I don't care, but his fly fighting was
amazing.
Awesome.
Well, he's basically walking on air. He's just doing this.
Yeah.
We're bearing the lead here, guys. He's a mutant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, literally says it right out there.
Yeah, we all knew
that. I think that was a genius.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
That's a genius move because in the comics, he is the first mutant, and he's old enough in this.
He is the first mutant
to still be the first mutant.
Technically, mutants were here all along. Technically. In the MCU. I mean, isn't Apocalypse the first mutant?
No, he's older than Apocalypse.
No, he in the comics he's called Namor.
Yeah, dude. This dude's like. I mean, it would make
in the movies he's like 500. In this,
Andy's
like
yelling at us.
I think this has been a debate for a long time.
Well, Keith, Apocalypse doesn't exist in the MCU, so he's the first mutant.
True. Yeah.
We don't know.
How do they do the hand sign like this?
The Dragon Ball.
Which do you see? Yeah, everyone's comparing to Dragon Ball Z.
Their own version
Dragon
of
Ball
forever.
Z.
No, I just want to say, like, I hate to be. I know a lot of people are saying this. I'm with you, Brian. Namor's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I loved him. it felt like his own little movie within this movie in a way, because they kind of told his origin story. And like so on my mom's side, I actually have Mayan roots on my mom's side. My grandpa, his father was Spanish and his mother was Mayan. And so I've been like, as I've gotten older, I've kind of started to take more pride in that part of my family history. And so like to see this and on screen was amazing. And then like my uncles went and saw it, and my uncle like called me as soon as he got out of the theater, and he's like, "Did you see it?" And he was all talking to me about like the history of the Mayans and all that stuff. And it was just so cool to see all that stuff. And the cool thing about it is they actually made this change like while writing the script. And Ryan Coogler, I mean, I'm guessing Ryan Coogler thought of it, or maybe Kevin Feige did, who knows? But they came up with this idea, and I just think it's such a cooler way, because I don't even know in the comics, isn't one of his parents a sailor, and they
it's the same story as Aquaman.
It's Aquaman. It's literally Aquaman.
It's basically the same thing as Aquaman. So, and I don't even know do they even say what his ethnicity is in the comics? Like
he's just an underwater mutant.
So this was done so beautifully, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. Tenoch Huerta, or I don't know.
It's Tenoch Huerta.
Like his performance was so, I don't know how to explain it. Like it was, I just liked it so much. Like,
fun fact, if you guys didn't see, he learned to swim for this movie.
Yeah,
really?
I watched an interview with him on Jimmy Kimmel.
He said when they asked him on the Zoom call if he can swim, he goes, "Good enough." And he learned how to swim before he started filming.
Did you hear that?
And Ryan Coogler also learned to swim.
Yeah, him too. Yeah.
And Namora, the cousin,
his cousin,
she can do over 7 minutes.
Oh my God!
Underwater?
She can breathe. There was an interview. Namora, the actress, she can breathe underwater for more than 7 minutes.
Yeah, but no, she didn't speak English before the start of this movie.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So we had 2 people learn to swim, and 1 person learned English for this.
And they all learned. A lot of them learned Mayan too, or they
basically created a language for the film.
Yeah. So no, just his performance though. He's very intimidating, but he's also charming. Like he did such a good job. So all the way around. And how do you make winged feet or winged ankles look cool? That's how you do it. Like just.
I know.
Real quick before Gio and Keith may go on Namor, I actually have to bounce, boys.
All right.
You guys take over. Do your thing. Talk more Namor, Koya, all that stuff. But yeah. So.
Oh my God.
Any last thoughts on the movie, Jake, before you go?
Huh?
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on the movie before you go?
Our last thoughts are that we're probably going to do a part 2 next week.
That's good.
Okay.
That's probably a good call.
There we go.
We're not. He's going to be left out of this. Jake or Gio, Keith, Namor. I can't roll my R's. I wish I could do Namor.
Well, Keith, you said you don't agree that he stole the movie. Why? I mean, I don't necessarily think he stole the movie. He was just my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, I think the MVP of this movie is Angela Bassett.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, performance-wise, absolutely.
Who put on a Hall of Fame performance in this movie. You know, I've paid attention to this channel over the years. I've always spoken about Angela Bassett. She's one of the best handful of actors on earth. Like, so we'll get to her later. But yeah, he's spectacular. I've been watching interviews with him, and he's hilarious. He's a funny guy. He's got a lot of personality, a lot of charm. I can't wait to see him doing any number of things, and not just as playing Namor, but I think he will and can and will be a star in Hollywood. I hope to see him doing a lot more stuff, because he's great. But yeah, man, Namor is a silly character. It really is. And I was curious all these years how this would translate to live action, and it could have been a disaster because, but in the hands of another star, which I do want to get to also, is Ryan Coogler, the other MVP of this movie. Yeah, he made the character imposing and intimidating and just menacing at the same time. But dogs, like you guys said, definitely charming and believable, and to the point where definitely sympathetic, and you could definitely see his side of why, what he wants to do. To be honest, just similar. Someone, I missed a comment, but someone said, Coogler's 2 for 2 on the villains in his movies. by giving them not just everybody always says, well, the best villains are the ones that think they're right. Every villain thinks they're right, but I mean, actually, the ones that actually really believe. I don't know how to word it, but like,
well, the ones who are fighting for something that is like worth saving, like to them, like you don't blame him for doing what he's doing,
right?
Because he's just trying to protect people.
You jump all the way, sure, we could jump back to Zod in Man of Steel, where he really thinks he's doing the right thing. You know, like he's not. Now he, of course, because you got to do it for story, you got to bring him to a point where he does become kind of villainous. So the hero's got to, you know.
And it was when he killed Queen Ramonda.
Exactly, and that's so exactly right. And it's like with Killmonger, where he, just kind of assaults the ladies there and burns the heart-shaped herb and does, kind of the things that he does. That can you can argue whether or not that. Sometimes I don't like that. Like I know Falcon and Winter Soldier. I didn't like what they did with what's her name? What did they call her in that?
The Flag Smasher.
Flag Smasher. Yeah, I didn't like the way they did it in that. She had a good cause, and then they made her become. I'm just going to kill some people. But anyway, but no, in this, yeah. Huh?
I said Scarlet Witch kind of did the same thing too.
No, you're right. Exactly. No, that's exactly right. Whatever. I mean, it's the thing they tend to do in these movies. I get it. You gotta get them. You gotta have one person this side, one person this side. So, but no, I thought he was again spectacular. Like I said, the wings was. I was really like, how is this wings on his feet? That's really be. And everything about it worked. Everything really worked. I mean, when he first shows up in Wakanda, like just comes out of this pond, and it's just like, oh,
when he's like this, this place is amazing,
right?
Yeah,
and they're just like, what the hell? Who are you? And how did you get? That was pretty amazing. But I love how they just the way, like I said, I mentioned, he's a mutant, which is cool. I like how, I don't know. Can we spoil Ms. Marvel? I don't know if we.
Go ahead.
I guess.
Go
obviously
please.
they revealed that she's a mutant as well.
So they're taking baby
popping
steps.
up.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said they're all starting to pop.
I'm surprised
the
little X-Men music didn't come when he said that.
I know, right?
I'm glad they didn't. No, that would have been stupid if they did that. But
it's cool. Like M'Baku's like, they're trying to figure out like why does he not? Like he can fly, like, and he seems to be stronger and than everyone, faster than everyone else, and he can fly. Like,
and he doesn't like his skin looks like normal human skin.
Like
he doesn't have the
he
blue
can breathe
skin.
the air and in the water. Like and they're like, well, his physiology is different. It's like he had already said it at that point that he said mutant. So he said that word.
Exactly.
So really cool. But yeah, everything about you guys are talking about, like the spectacular, like the Incan, Mayan, and Aztec history that people forget, or I don't know if people forget. Like I wasn't from. Like, I don't know if that's something you guys learn in California, but I mean, Mexico was colonized also.
By
it's a part of history that doesn't come up as much.
Well, that's literally how Mexicans were created.
Got here,
the
exactly.
Spanish people and the Mayans, like.
Well, but just forget there are indigenous Mexican people that do not, like you said, they don't speak Spanish. Like where he referred to it as a hateful language, which was like, I was like, oh man, wow, I never thought of that. They brought this hateful language to our people, and like, yeah, it's like, oh man, it's so ingrained in our culture here, especially being here in California. I never thought of that, but I'm sure there are indigenous people to that part of North America that feel that way. And so that is a thing I've been thinking about, and I definitely would like to maybe get more into is that history. But yeah, no, he's great. I think Nemo's great. I can't wait to see more of him.
There was one comment I wanted to get.
Well, Gio, you didn't talk about Namor at all, man.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Say this one more time. It's Namor.
Namor.
Dude, the way he explains his name is the best.
That was one of the. I mean, that whole backstory about like I guess his father was it like swimming into the cave
was that his father?
To retrieve. It might have been, but like that whole backstory right there of like giving them all this what do they call it? Like a liquid, a herb?
It was from the herb, yeah. So I forget what what was the disease? The pox they had.
They had smallpox,
right?
Smallpox,
Yeah.
and they were taking it to heal themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it like killed them and then turned them into something else. But she
Right.
was the only one that was pregnant, so that's why he became a mutant, because nobody else. Like, he was the only one created that way.
I think he had the mutant gene already.
Oh, possibly. Yeah.
That's in my opinion. That's the way I took it.
Well, they didn't say, but I think that would make sense. Like,
he probably just mutated the gene that he had, a gene that was in there, and hence mixed it.
So probably. Yeah.
So like he became what they are, but also he was already a mutant. Like,
I think he would have been born a mutant anyway. He might have had those powers anyway. Because remember, they think that the herb gave him the wings, but I think it was the thing he was going to be born with because he was a mutant.
Yeah,
kind of like how Logan is born with claws, but like
so he mentioned his ears. Do the ears do anything? Can he just hear better, or do we know?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's just hear better.
Yeah,
I don't think I don't know off the top of my head.
because he can hear better. He said he heard Shuri talking when he was under the water, like as he was approaching them. So, but he mentions his ears. He was like, I had wings on my ankles and pointed ears.
super hearing.
Right.
Yeah. But I thought the whole introduction of the Talocans and Namor, particularly in the beginning with, Jamie Bell and her random,
Lake Bell.
Lake Bell, sorry, Lake Bell.
Which was a surprise. I was like, Lake Bell's in this movie.
Well,
Wow.
that I really think that the reshoots cut her involvement in the MCU.
I thought about that,
but like we'll talk off camera. But I thought that whole introduction and then how the Talocans were like humming or something.
Yeah, the hypnosis.
Oh my god! Everyone
crazy,
just like jumps off the.
Oh, they were like sirens, like
they were
like Greek stories. Yeah.
So they were making that sound, or there was like a device?
Yeah, they were singing.
They were making that sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay.
That's scary stuff, right there.
That's exactly what they were, Jacob. They were sirens. That's why when they threw the bombs at him and they stopped singing, it stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was crazy. They were like forcing people to like jump into the water, or they were. Yeah.
That was crazy, right?
It was wild.
Yeah, I did like those water. Somebody mentioned too. Those water grenade bomb things were pretty cool. Like, they were like, because they weren't just like water balloons. They were just massive.
They were putting up a fight against the Dora Milaje, man. The Dora Milaje were struggling.
Yeah,
I mean, they were losing. Really,
all of Wakanda was struggling. Well, let's just jump to Okoye then. Her story in this.
Sorry, because I was going to say we got to talk. We haven't mentioned. We got to talk about Riri Williams.
That was going to be my one after Okoye, because I figured we weren't going to talk too much about it.
Well, just real quick, Namor does have super hearing. I found
it.
Okoye.
That was story when the scene where, just to jump kind of further ahead, but when she was like stripped of her, she was demoted.
Yeah,
that was both performances again. Angela Bassett, but what's her name? Oh my gosh, Okoye.
Denai Guerrera.
My phone. Yeah. Wow, like that was incredibly powerful. That was heartbreaking to watch. Like she really she devoted herself to protecting this throne. And for her to, like, the anger from Angela Bassett over basically just mad at her for choosing to defend Killmonger and defend that throne. Like,
it's so funny you say that, because when she said, I'm gonna get rid of you or whatever, I'm like, bitch, like, calm down. It's not that serious. Hard. And then she says, and you still stood by Killmonger. I went, oh yeah, that's like I was like, yeah, that was a bad look.
Like, that's hard. Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, yeah, that's harsh. She did her best.
But when she was trying to defend herself,
all the traditions. She followed all the traditions.
That scene
agreed to it.
It was an amazing performance by her in that scene. The one where she's
trying
to defend herself.
When she killed those guys on the bridge, well, she thought she killed the fish people on the bridge, like, which is really awesome fight scene. But I mean, she was just spectacular in this movie. Yeah. So if the series is going to follow her, then I'm all for that, man. Let's go.
I will say, I don't know if I like the Midnight Angels stuff.
Oh, I didn't like that.
I don't like the super suits. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's
put her in a Black Panther suit. I really thought they were going to give her there's going to have a couple more Black Panther suits.
I just thought she was going to get like a more high tech suit. It's almost like an Iron Man suit. Like, I don't. there's so many like Iron Man suits now that I'm kind of like almost a little not happy about it. Like, because you already know Ironheart's gonna get one. She already had one in this movie.
Yeah.
It's and
War Machine has one. Like,
yeah. So that was my own, probably one of my biggest negatives when she started flying around in that suit, and I was like, they have a suit now too. Like, I was like,
they were joking about how it's ugly. It actually is ugly.
No, it
they
is
did
ugly.
not look good.
Yeah,
the suits.
I think that may have been
The Midnight Angel suits did not look good. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I want that to come up in Armor Wars.
Yeah, like, what are you guys doing? Like, get a designer. Like, come on, Shuri. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Okoye did say that they were hideous.
Hey, Riri has good style, though. She has good style.
Yeah. Okay. One of the main ones, and Mike K, you said this a long time ago. Are you guys more or less excited for Ironheart after this movie?
Big time.
More.
Big time. Go.
More. I have one issue, and I said this to you guys right when the movie ended. She didn't say one thing. Like, all right, I know it's implied already, but she didn't say one thing about, like I used to look up to Tony Stark or something like that.
Okay.
Like, no, I know it's implied, but
I've already got it. I
just want some like Tony Stark was my hero type thing.
Well, okay. Listen, this is an intro. Her role in this movie, and this is what I was saying earlier, where the parallels of Civil War, she's what Spider-Man was in Civil War. It's the exact same thing.
Okay.
So we'll get all that later. She's got a series coming, and she's everything we need.
Okay.
To know, it'll come later. This was just introduction. Like, well, because I was curious too. I'm looking at she's looking at the designs that she had on that paper. It looked like she's designing an arc reactor and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
so
how did
I think
that?
obviously
somebody's going to show up and be like, "How the hell did you do this?" Like,
she literally made an Iron Man suit that looks similar to Iron Man. Like, Shuri let her make whatever she wanted. Right. So, like, I get it. Okay, yeah, she is a fan. I just wish he was mentioned like once, just because I love Tony Stark. But obviously he's going to be mentioned in her series. I would hope so. He's her AI in the comics. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
That would be insane because Robert Downey Jr. would have to do it.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
I don't know.
I will say, going into this movie, I was kind of like, why are they putting her in? Like, are they going to just like mush her in this for the sake of introduction of this character?
Yes.
So the way they did it, though, was brilliant.
Well, they made her important to the story.
Exactly.
Right.
And
right.
She was the reason for Namor showing up. Exactly. And so I thought it was done brilliantly. I left there like, okay, hell yeah. Like, I am down for some Ironheart. Because, I mean, she's like a Miss Marvel. She's relatively new. So there isn't a lot of crazy decades worth of history for her. So I loved it. She was phenomenal. And Dominique Thorne, I didn't know her until this. I know her ass now because she was great in this movie.
Yeah. Agree.
So I'm excited.
What do you think?
She was great. She kind of felt she kind of felt like a plot device. You know what I mean?
What she was.
Yeah, I mean, like I get it, but it's just I don't know. Like,
in the same way that
she's part of
the plot in Civil War. You know what I mean? Like, it was.
Yeah. So how much of this movie is going to be like Civil War? You know, it's like it's just right. I don't know. I just her whole arc thing kind of like ties into like I would have liked a tighter story for Wakanda Forever. Performance was good. She had some cool moments. I don't know. I'll have to see it a second time. It doesn't sit right with me.
I've heard a lot of, well, first of all, this movie's long. So
yes,
in that sense, I can, I actually, I'm always complaining about long run times, but because I'm old, I'm tired. But this movie there were points where this drag. I felt like the Ross and Valentina.
Oh my God, Val.
They could have cut all that. I feel like they could have cut all
that. Yeah, I forgot she was in this movie.
Yeah.
That was basically just setting up future stuff.
Oh,
And so you're right. They could have cut it. But they're trying to set up like the whole world is going to go off. There's going to be like a war over vibranium.
Jacob, that's exactly what I was, when we got to Val, that's exactly what I was going to bring up, is that they are setting up, they backdoor set up Thunderbolts, and they backdoor set up Captain America, with them all going to be going after vibranium.
New World Order.
Yeah.
That's the name of it. It's called New World Order, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is this? Yeah. I mean, that's going to be.
So that's the shared universe thing. They have to include that stuff to build their universe. But I agree with you. No, I do think it was too long, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really? See, for me, I left going, wow, that didn't feel like almost 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
240. I know they had a lot to do. It's kind of like a 25% Namor movie anyway. So that's
I'd
probably
give it
why.
40% Namor movie. It's a lot of Namor.
It is. I liked. Well,
that's true. Also, Shane, that he is going to be a big part in Secret Invasion.
Oh, is he? Oh, I didn't even.
Yeah, he's a main player in that show.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's it. Well, the conflict between potential conflict, I guess, seems like, it's the U.S. because they're like ready to attack Wakanda, which is crazy. So if that's the kind of thing they're setting up, and if it's going to roll over,
France literally carried out that attack.
Yeah, exactly. Hitting one of their research centers or whatever it was, whatever. But
Gio's itching to say the real thing.
The what?
What is it?
He told me it. The research vessel.
Oh, okay. Oh no, but didn't they attack? There was another thing. Like, what is it? One of their
their outreach centers.
Outreach center. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Right. So that actually, in story wise, it's a big deal. So I get why they had to have them in there, but I just felt like there was probably too much of it, like a little too much of it, because they kept going back to it. And some of her part, and I love Elaine. I can't remember her name. I never can.
Val.
Veep. What's her name?
Val. Val. VAL.
The actress.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. They came to me right.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But I love her. But some of she's playing, because she's a comedic actress, of course. So she is. I just don't know if her.
Even I'm kind of having a hard time buying what she's selling.
Yeah, like I want to see where it's going with her, but for her in this movie, it didn't seem to fit as well.
I think where it's going to finally work is Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to really work until we get to that.
I think she was fine in Captain America, or in Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah. And then she's in the post-credit scene of Black Widow.
Yeah.
But no, Brian, Everett Ross is a damn Skrull. No, you just made me think of this. I'm not saying he's been a Skrull the whole time. I think Val knew that the Dora Milaje were going to break him out, and they purposely sent him in that truck knowing they were going to break him out and bring him to Wakanda, and the real one's locked away, and they sent a fake one in that truck so
that's crazy.
They could take him and have somebody inside Wakanda
that's crazy,
that they trust.
Secret Invasion is going to be wild.
Yeah.
Dang,
you just made me think of that, Brian. Because that would make sense. She set up the bead thing.
Yeah.
Like it would be another trap by her. And she said she dreams of the day that the United States is the only country with vibranium.
Unless she's a Skrull. What if she's a Skrull queen?
She might.
That would be dope.
What would that mean for Thunderbolts, though? And then
but see, she would have
together
last all the way to Thunderbolts, which is way past Secret Invasion. It's almost a year past Secret Invasion. Although that would be dope,
right?
For her to be the bad guy.
Interesting. Okay, we lost track, but Black Panther, Wakanda forever.
No, that's not. That's. I mean, Val
on track. Yeah.
No one. I had no clue she was going to be in this, yet alone as much as she was.
Yeah,
like she was in it for.
And we find out that her and Everett Ross were married.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
She was in it for like a solid 10 minutes at least. Like It was a decent.
I was like, hey, that Peloton line was a little too forward, but then she's like, they used to be married. I'm like, oh, okay,
well,
Right.
like,
anything that we're missing that we want to talk about?
I will say, okay, so here's one of my negatives for me, and this is not on Letitia Wright. It's on it's the absence of Chadwick Boseman, and this is what it's on. So in the scenes in Black Panther and Infinity War, when he's commanding his army and he's doing the war calls and all that stuff, and he's saying Wakanda forever, like it's very powerful, and like the camera zooms in on him and it stays on him, and you feel it. The 2 times that she's doing her Wakanda forever thing, they like Wakanda forever, skip away real quick. Like the camera like moves away from her and they just cut to the next scene. It's kind of like an afterthought, where those scenes in Black Panther and Infinity War are like staples for the movie, because they're powerful moments, and that's like what kids say when they're playing as Black Panther and stuff. And like I felt like those moments weren't here in this movie, and like I don't know how you fix that, but it's just unfortunate. I think it's just lack of Chadwick is the reason.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Did you guys feel that too?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly, Brian. Time. He's so, the scenes where they would flash to him, like whether it's someone like thinking about him or whatever, or just even in the Marvel logo thing, like he's an actor, and we talked about it already, but he shines on screen. Like he's so engaging and magnetic, and he's such a star. Like, and so
you gotta watch Get On Up if you haven't seen it.
Everything you're saying, like, yeah, exactly. I mean, everything you're saying is that's what it is. It's just that it's not him. So
maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
What can you do? Like, I don't know, but I agree. It just doesn't. Nothing that anybody does, as great as they are, it won't be him.
Yeah.
That just speaks to how great he was and what a star he was.
Yeah. We'll never get to see exactly what they were gonna do, but I mean, considering what we got,
we'll get a different version of it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, who knows what they changed? I would love to know the original to now and how much they changed it. I bet you they changed quite a bit. That wasn't even just.
I don't think it was that much.
I have a feeling they changed a lot of Namor stuff.
Do you think that the Queen was still going to die?
Probably.
I probably would imagine, yeah. It feels like, from what I understand.
Although I will say that was ballsy of them to kill. I mean, your main person's dead, and then you're going to kill another person, which it makes sense in the story of Shuri. She's lost now everything.
Right.
So, like, in that sense, it makes sense. But still, like, Jake and I were talking about this before. It's like, do you really kill someone when your main actor is dead? He was the face of this franchise and all this stuff. And then you go and kill another person. And they did. And they had to do the funeral on screen twice.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn.
That was a little much, but...
They did it to Thor. Thor lost everyone.
They did it for story, too. And hey, she went out like a badass. She saved Riri. Yeah. Like Riri would have been dead if she didn't do that. She literally saved someone's life. So she died a hero. Yeah, which is awesome. But it was not like, I was wondering that too. Like 2 funeral scenes, 2 major deaths in one movie, and like not that much time. What had in Shuri's eyes.
Yes.
Like how long was it between her brother and her mother dying?
Over a year.
Oh yeah.
Because they fast forward a year.
But that's not a lot of time. That's not a lot of time to lose 2 family members like that. So that's crazy. And, they put her through the ringer in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which that makes me appreciate the Killmonger stuff more. Like, she was losing her shit. I mean, it's understandable to be that angry.
She was angry that. Like I think she talked about it. Like she was mad that T'Challa was sick and didn't say anything and didn't tell her because she felt like she could have helped him. She could have saved him. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
it was great to see. Like, great it speaks to her performance, like that struggle of, you know, she's mourning, she's sorrow, she's angry at the world, but she was angry at him for not telling her what was going on as close as they were, you know, and seeing her deal with that. You know, you could tell it definitely some real life that bled into that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I think for all of them too, for all their performances.
Gio, you hear about that with people. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Gio, what does Namor say to Shuri? I heard you react to the line that he says to her when they're talking, and she's like, I don't understand why. Like, she's talking about her brother, and she says something, and then he says, only the most broken people can be the best leaders, or something. And like, but that was even before she lost her mom, because they weren't chatting it up as buddies after he killed her mom. Yeah, which was interesting.
It's like his T'Chaka said to T'Challa, it's hard for a good man to be king.
Yeah,
it's
very true.
So I just really quick, because then we got to wrap up, but I just wanted to say I was listening to Christian Harloff talked about, because I want to jump back to Angela Bassett, but like he talked about, I guess she talked about how hard it was. Like she had to really work with the dialect coach when she was doing that scene where she was addressing the UN. Because she was
the accents.
Because she was really, like, in real life, she was actually
sad. Yeah,
and it was coming out, like her real feelings were coming out and real emotions were coming out, and she kept losing the accent. So she said she had a difficult time with that scene, staying in character, because her real that emotion was really pouring out of her.
Yeah.
So
honestly, do you think she gets nominated for something?
I hope so. I was going to say that. I think probably not. Yes, probably not. I hope so.
I think she deserves it for sure, but it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot.
Yeah.
Serena, anytime M'Baku spoke,
that was hilarious.
M'Baku was one of the best characters in all, for me, in all of the MCU.
The MCU.
He's just
every time. Sure.
Not enough of him in this movie, I don't think.
That's what I was going to say. I think they could have used him more in this movie.
Yeah.
And I wish he was involved in the action more.
Yeah.
But he did say some funny lines. When he says that Namor as strong as the Hulk, because Namor punched him like all the way across the city. And he's like, of course he's got to be the strongest the Hulk if he hit me like that.
My heart sunk. I was like, no, he punched through his chest.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Oh, there's no way they could have killed M'Baku. That's the one character, like, no. Not like they. If Shuri died, I would have been like, "Damn, that sucks." But M'Baku dying, no, I won't accept it.
Yeah. M'Baku, God, love that man. He's so funny. They give him the best one-liners,
and he's probably going to be king of Wakanda until young Prince T'Challa comes and takes it back.
Now, I would be interesting. I don't know how age could work, but maybe at some point, if he ages up high enough for T'Challa Jr., then you could maybe do the turn into the villain that he is in the comics. Like, I don't want it because I fucking love M'Baku, but like maybe he comes for the throne.
Well, Wakanda doesn't know that T'Challa had a son, so
I know
technically
that's what I'm
Prince
saying.
T'Challa is Prince.
That's what I'm saying. So maybe at some point he says, all right, pass the throne. And then M'Baku's like, absolutely not. And maybe you have some conflict.
Like a Wakandan civil war type thing.
M'Baku has to fight a child for the throne.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting, but
beat up a kid.
You think he would just like give it to him out of respect or no? I don't know.
I mean, he's Black Panther's main villain in the comic. One of the biggest. Gordon, there's no way they're going to call him Man Ape, by the way. That's they would have to change something.
Well, they haven't to this point, so
it's racist. So anything else before we wrap this bad boy up?
No, there's obviously we didn't cover everything, but I think that's good for tonight.
Yeah,
can't wait to see it again.
Me too.
It is very much a movie that you feel like you need to see again because you probably missed some stuff. Like I guarantee you, I missed a bunch of stuff.
It's very emotional and somber. Like coming out of it, I was like, I don't know if I want to see, but I do want to see it again.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
I don't think they heard us talk about this, but we did talk about it. I think we all agree. I mean, I said they look terrible.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Like the suits look terrible.
I wasn't a huge fan of the suits.
Yeah.
In general.
And yeah, one of the best thing about Okoye and Adore Milaje is like seeing them when they fight.
Yeah.
So if it's just a suit, it's not the same.
I like the Ironheart suit.
Yeah, that was dope.
I like the Ironheart suit.
For me, there's something about the Dora Milaje being so simple. Like it's literally them in a spear, and they whoop people's ass. Yeah. Like they beat the living crap out of them, and all they have is the spear.
But they realize she can't fight these people, though.
I know.
Earlier in the movie, so I don't know. Just
whatever.
Give them all the herb. There we go.
Yeah. Okoye I fucking love Okoye. She's one of my favorite characters. All right. Mr. Jacob, you want to plug your anything before we walk on out of here?
Sure. Yeah. The fantasy football season is coming closer to an end. You can check out me and my buddy Gabe on First Round Fantasy. And of course, I have a show with Mr. Keith Barnes up here. We do Bartley and Barnes at the end of every month. You can come join us. Go check out our last month's episode. It was a lot of fun. You can find me on Twitter at JacobBartley824.
Gio?
On Twitter at Insider Geo and my separate YouTube channel, Fandom United.
Keith?
I'm on Twitter at KeithBarnes79. See me on Fandom United with this guy. See me on Bartley and Barnes with Mr. Bartley. And you'll see me here back again Tuesdays on Apocaflix now. I'm back. Thank you, everyone.
Yay.
Hey. For me, Be a Volcano on Twitter and Instagram. A certain point of view if you're into just pop culture nonsense that's going on. Tomorrow, Jake and I should be doing Fandalorian Club for the penultimate episode of Andor. Fantastic show. So if you are not watching that show, you are missing out. But check us out tomorrow. I think 5:00 is when we probably will be doing it. But thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Catch us next week, same time, probably 7:00 Tuesday night. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.